Hello, hello, and welcome back to Password. It's we just went to bed. Had a nice evening with Orlando. It's all good. Oh, I felt refreshed. It was hard to place exactly how I was feeling, but at the same point, during the night, I'd gone under the covers. It was an odd feeling. If only by habit, I was craving coffee, despite maybe not really needing it to function. It seems like I hadn't slept all that long either. Either, whatever. I got dressed and made my way downstairs, bumping into Sal near the bottom. Oh, good morning, Sal. Did you sleep well?
No, was restless. Maybe it was the storm.
I thought you liked the rain. Helped me get to sleep, but I was up with Orlando and Haas late last night, so I was tired to begin with.
Hmm.
You don't look like you look like you need coffee more than I do.
No, I'm fine. I was just waiting for Orlando.
Waiting for him here? Why? Uh,
He wasn't in the kitchen.
that he doesn't live there though, Sal.
I know, but he's, prone to routine.
It's not breakfast time though, is it?
He's been getting up at the same time as me almost. Or I'm awake and he's already making me something to eat.
Oh well. Uh, you're not forcing him to, right? Please say you aren't.
I'm not, but it's nice. Have you seen him?
I only just got up myself, so no, sorry.
Oh, alright then. Would you, like to get a cup of coffee then?
Oh, sure. All right. Already had your swim in this morning?
Not yet. After breakfast, though.
Sal and I wandered into the kitchen, and he started making coffee. Do you drink coffee often, Sal?
Not often. But, I get tired of the taste. But I don't dislike it. I do like tea. However, it was that Orlando likes, ginseng tea, I think.
Haas handed me a cup of coffee, and I wandered over to the fridge to retrieve some milk. How often do you two have tea anyway? He mentioned yesterday you two hang out sometimes.
He did? Not often, really.
I hand Sal the milk, and he declines, sipping from his own mug and looking out the window.
Surprisingly dry outside. Guess the storm didn't go as long as I thought it did.
I only caught the start of it, so maybe it hit hard and then stopped.
Maybe.
We stood around in relative silence drinking our coffee. There wasn't all that much to say, but I was enjoying the warm feeling going from my gut to the tip of my fingers as the coffee did its job.
Morning. Morning. Sleep well, pup?
Before I could get a word in, Ty swiped the mug from my hand and down what was left before taking it over to the machine to make some more. Reflex is a bit slow, Dave. Hey, I'm still waking up. And all the early risers are here, plus Tyson.
Plus you too, dork.
Ty drank from the renewed mug before passing it back to me. Pulling out his phone and looking at something, I grumbled but gratefully took the mug and sipping from it. That's a cute interaction. I really like it. You know, they're just bros sharing a cup of coffee together. Yep. But really, why are you up so early, Ty?
No reason.
Or more accurately, he's trying to make friends.
Oi, watch it! That's not what I said!
Oh, are you sure? I could have sworn you were saying something about, and I quote, I don't want to have a shit time and make Dave upset. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, whatever. I asked what he was doing with his stretches and just offered offered to show him some actual gym stuff.
Yeah, maybe it's best we leave it at that.
I don't want to pry any further into your reasons after all.
Dude, whatever. The pair of them wandered off out into the kitchen, presumably heading to the gym. Given Haas's normal schedule of getting up early and doing his thing, it made sense. However, you've been quiet for a bit there, Sal. Everything all right?
One's missing.
One's missing. What?
Look.
Sal points to the knife block where every knife was in the place to bar. Maybe it's always been missing.
No, it was there yesterday. I remember from the lesson.
Something like an odd thing to just go missing, though. Maybe it broke, like the handle came off.
Maybe. The others, they went to the gym?
I think so. Why?
Maybe I should go too. It might be good, just in case.
What do you mean, just in case?
In case Haas says something and gets himself into trouble with Tyson.
Huh. But what would you know about that scenario, Sal? Curious. That's a curious statement. Oh, he's not that bad, I promise. One hard stare from Sal made me backpedal quickly, however. Okay, so maybe it's not a bad idea to have someone else there to make sure. If Haas was telling the truth about Ty's reason, though, it can only be good, right?
Perhaps.
Well, if you're going down there and no one else is around yet, I may as well come too. It was dark in the basement. The lights were off, but the light from the gym lit up enough of the way forward. Why didn't they turn on the lights, Sal? I caught Sal's silhouette shrugging before he rumbled back a reply, audibly uncertain.
Cats and dogs have good night vision, right?
Maybe, but maybe don't phrase it that way with the others around. Ty's touchy about it, and I don't know Haas might take it. As we got to the edge of the gym, something was nagging me. Something was telling me that there was something off. I backtracked, feeling around for a light switch in the basement and flicking it on, blinding myself.
What are you doing?
Man, I can't do a deep voice like that. I'm so sorry, guys. It's gonna be real bad during Sal's route.
Oh, what are you doing?
I just thought... I was rubbing my eyes, blinking to try to shake off the sudden onset of lights before I noticed. Wait.
What? What?
The door to the vault, it's open. What?
Is it normally closed?
I would imagine so, right? Wondering closer, I figured the worst was that someone had just left it open. As I eased the door open, though. What? Wait, he's not even stabbed? What is this? He's just sleeping. Orlando? Upon me saying that, Sal approached from behind, either curious or something else. I don't know what he, don't know, but he approached quickly. Why are you... But Sal pushed past me, kneeling down closer to get a closer look. My eyes fell upon the knife that was laying beside him. Oh, hey, found the knife, Sal. Sal?
Go get help, quick!
Huh? Almost immediately, Sal started performing CPR on Orlando. I realized what it was, and I didn't understand why. He was just sleeping, right?
Dave, go!
But it turns out, Sal's bellowing was enough to call the others on their own.
Dave, you alright?
What in the world? All eyes were trained on Sal's focus. A determined expression as he continued doing compressions.
Not good. Ambulance. Less talk. More ambulance.
Sal was baring his teeth now, Haas taking this as a cue to dash out of the room and back upstairs. What should I do?
Damn it. Damn it. Breathe, Orlando. Come on, pup. Let's get you out of here.
Ty eased me out of the room, at the very least, so Sal had some space. Even just on the outside of the door, we could hear him grumbling and muttering as he continued his efforts. Haas and Ty were down here, right? Orlando, he's not. Ty gave me a hard stare, sober but serious. Ty, is Orlando?
It doesn't look good, pup. You know what Sal's doing. I know what he's doing, and we both know when you're supposed to do it.
But... Ty went back to Sal, leaving me to process what had happened. I could hear them talking about things, but I was turning them out, wondering what had happened. Where's Roswell and Dean? You know, curious. What's their alibis in this? Because I'll tell you, those two seemed really suspicious in Haas's route. They never even checked to see Dean's hunting knife. Just saying. I still don't want it to be that anyone killed anyone and it's characters we haven't met. I know that'd probably be like a cop-out, but I don't want to think bad of my friends, so... I slumped back against the wall, hugging my knees. Eventually, paramedics arrived and took over for Sal, and they took him away all the same. The police came next, took some statements from those of us before leaving, and it was around this time that Dean and Roswell were told of what had happened. I don't think I'd seen Sal so emotional. After Orlando was taken away, he cycled through sadness and anger, punching the walls until his knuckles were bloody and raw. Dean managed to get him under control, and the pair of us, we bandaged him up. He withdrew himself soon after, with only Dean managing to get him to talk. What's the name of this track? Was this Goodbye? I really like this track. It's my favorite in the game, I think. Probably. It's either this. I also really like Fatherhood because, you know, David's a QT. I was barred from the funeral. Oh, that makes sense. In fact, all of us were. A family-only affair, apparently. But with the amount of black suits around, it was an oppressive atmosphere to be in. I hadn't seen as many dragons about the place, all of them shooting me surly looks as they filed past. A couple days after that, I started getting mail from Orlando's family. Threats, demands for answers. Here I was even unsure of how he died. As far as I could tell, there wasn't a single mark on his body. It was bad enough that I didn't feel safe anymore, and with some planning, my options were to move in with Dean and his family, or go to the other side of the country with Haas. I mean, oh no, who would I pick? If it's between these two. You know, I'd probably pick Hasu now that I've done his route. I'm sorry, Dean. We can be friends. I swear.
And you're sure about this, Dave?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't worry, Dean. I'll look after him. By the time we're there, he'll be safe. Promise. Well, all right.
Dean came in and gave me a hug, followed by a kiss on the forehead.
And if you ever need anything at all, I'll jump on a plane and be there as fast as I can.
How's Sal? Oh my god. I'm gonna choke and die.
How's Sal holding up? He's holding it together.
Been to the cemetery a couple of times already. First time, he just sat there for a solid hour staring at the headstone. Second time, he had a small conversation with himself, or Orlando. It didn't feel right to listen in, so I gave him some space. He'd probably like a phone call every now and again. If you can spare the time. Absolutely. Minimum once a week. I'll give him a call when we're on the road. Maybe take some pictures and send them. He'd probably like that. I lugged the last suitcase and put it in Haas's car as Dean looked in my letterbox to make sure I didn't miss anything. Huh? What's this? Dean flashed a small folded envelope, sealed with wax. Oh, okay, so it's here. It wasn't just a letter given to Dean this time. Fancy letter. Is this what you've been getting? Nothing like that, no. Come on, Dean. He doesn't need that. Leaving it behind sounds like a terrible idea. How am I supposed to get the keyword? No, take the letter. I eyed the letter in Dean's hand before reaching out for it. He handed it to me carefully, and I peeled it open to scan its contents. Is it what I think it is? I shouldn't have opened it. No, wait. Listen to this. Dave. Excuse me. Dave, I can only imagine the other letters or correspondence you've been receiving from Orlando's family. Take it from someone who comes from a family equally, if not more wealthy, that some wealth comes with enemies. They are looking for someone to blame as they grieve. Still, I can assuredly say that this isn't some accident, but someone intent on carrying out some sort of execution, a death sentence, as it were. Okay. Is that the whole phrase, death sentence, or just sentence? Death sentence. It's probably just sentence, but you know. If you have not considered relocating, at least for the time, that would be my suggestion. It helps me when someone dear left this world, if only for a little bit. And then it's just signed, OH at the bottom. But of all the writing, they underlined the word sentence. Even seems written slightly thicker too. Maybe it's just a writing quirk. Or just being cryptic. I mean, it's nice knowing that there's someone out there that's not sending me death threats, I guess. By far, it's not the worst letter I've gotten lately, so that's a plus. And there's plenty of nice ones outside of Bill's. They'll be in the mail when we get there. You'll be all right, Dave. Shall we hit the road? Double check you've got everything. Snacks? Water? It's a long drive after that. We'll be fine. We can stop off on the way. It's only a long drive. It's only a long drive, not a trek out into the wilderness. Yeah, all right. Give me a hug, yeah? At his request, I wandered over to Dean, and Dean hugged tightly. Him returning it in kind, we lingered there with Haas playing with his car keys nearby, almost oblivious to his presence. When we broke, Dean coughed slightly, turning, but I caught him wiping his eyes with an arm. All right, give me a call when you get in, all right? And remember to call Sal. Will do. That was how things were going to be for a while. Haas and I were going to move in together someplace on the other coast to get away from it all. Tyson said he would have been happy to drive me, but I got the impression he didn't want to linger. He did come to visit, though. Aww. Okay. Dean kept in touch, as did Sal, but it was clear that things weren't the same back home. So, I'm guessing that Tyson went on his trip, you know, to go around, do things, and on that trip visited Dave. That's so sweet. Like, what a good boy. Dean kept in touch. Yeah, I already read that. Whoops. With Orlando's passing, there were a few unsavory incidents that caused Dean to relocate out our way. There were a few, huh? But I lost contact with Sal. Roswell and Tyson seemed to disappear completely. One day, they just stopped replying to messages. Oh. It was sad, but the change in scenery and the company I did still have made it better. So Roswell um and Tyson they just disappeared? Oh, that's scary. We're gonna resonate. I'll put my mouse here so it doesn't fall off my lap. Did I spell that right? Bruh, we got there. A chill went up my spine to accompany the chime, signaling that the password I'd put in was correct. Huh? I was then blindsided with an image in my head. What killed him, though? It seems like Orlando was sleeping somewhere with a knife. This one's probably the most confusing death so far. I feel like the only death I can, like, half gather what happened was Tyson. Because it's like, oh, okay, so the bear and the bunny murdered him out in the woods. I get it. Is what it is. When the room came back into view, I was staring at the floor. I had questions, namely about why Orlando would be down here with a knife, but he seemed fine. Despite that, though, something disturbed me about the implication of it. Taking one look around, I head back to my room to prepare for breakfast. Okay. Oh yeah, we did the we're still gonna hang in with Orlando. Still gonna be that way. Curious. Do these decisions matter? Like, do I have to do these decisions correctly to... Because everything's happening this... Oh, okay. I watched as Orlando left, and a nagging feeling I was having was telling me that maybe I should follow. He said that he wouldn't be all that long, so I could just wait, but... Yeah, we're following. Worst case scenario, I just make up an excuse and say I wanted a drink, but... I peeked my head out and caught a glimpse of Orlando heading downstairs, and I gave him another few seconds head start before I followed him down to the basement. It was likely the muttering that covered up my footsteps. Although I couldn't make out what he was saying, what did surprise me was that he went into the vault room. Okay, I'm feeling fairly certain. I edged closer, peering through the open door to see Orlando messing with the keypad, scratching his head. As I shifted my weight to try and get a better look, the door creaked and Orlando spun around.
Who's there? Dave?
Oh, hi.
You almost gave me a heart attack. What are you doing down here? More importantly, I told you I'd be a couple of minutes.
Orlando rubbed his temple while I scanned the room. Nothing seemed out of place as far as I could tell, but it was such a strange place to just decide to check out.
Did you follow me for a reason? Kind of disappointing, you do that.
Would you believe, I thought you were in danger?
In danger of what? Still, I suppose your heart was in the right place.
What brought you down here, anyway?
Like I said upstairs, I wanted to check something.
But here, of all places?
Yes, here. This place seems important.
I guess.
I don't know. I'll,
But what am I? Brain? Brain work? It's just letters.
it's just a feeling I got. I get. Sort of like the feeling I get in standing in front of, the one at home. But at least I know what's inside that one.
But you have one of these at your home?
Not like this, but we do have a treasury vault thing.
But at your house? Your parents are bankers, right? They should have, shouldn't they be, having that sort of stuff in the bank?
More like the hideout, I guess. But you still don't honestly believe that my parents are bankers, right?
That's what you told me that they did, and you live in a nice house, so.
Dave, think about this really hard. Think about why my dad didn't like yours, and why you weren't allowed to come back to my house after they found out your dad was a cop.
I thought it was just because, I don't know, I thought it was because I didn't know how to use chopsticks.
Well, that really didn't help, but that's why I was so intent on teaching you after that.
But, bleh. I just can't talk today. But they really didn't like Dad. What sort of people don't like cops? Oh, wait.
Right.
Wait. So your family is.
Let's maybe just leave it there, just in case. But I promise you I haven't done anything bad. That's all my parents and their associates. Grandpa was keen on keeping me out of the family business for as long as I can remember.
Oh, right, gotcha.
Still, the prospect of death, it's just so.
Orlando shuddered, hugging himself.
I don't want to see people die. At the very least, people I know.
Hey, Orlando, none of us are dying, right?
Promise.
I pushed the thought of how I saw Orlando to the back of my mind to stop dwelling on the prospect that what I've seen was the worst case scenario.
You promise? You'll be careful.
Yeah, I'll promise I'll be careful if you do.
Seems fair. I promise I'll be careful too then.
Orlando and I headed back upstairs to spend more time gaming. We were getting a fair way in, but I was struggling to keep up. Needing a break, and given the time, we headed on down to the kitchen to get something to eat. So this is when Haas shows up. Interesting. But suddenly the hesitation fell away, replaced with a warm smile.
Please, all I'm going to do is to check out the vault again.
Wait, why?
Peace of mind, really. Don't worry, I didn't forget the promise. I'll be careful.
I narrowed my gaze, giving him a look of suspicion.
Hey, I mean it. It's a thing I remembered Sal talking about once. The more you confront something scary, the less control it has over you, right?
Oh, so you're going to try overcoming your fear of ghosts and stuff, too?
Maybe not right now, but eventually that'd be nice. Still, you head on up. I won't be long. Only a couple of minutes to gather my thoughts, and I'll be right there.
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
Yep.
Orlando headed towards the basement before patting his pocket, turning around and heading inside towards the kitchen. Guess he left his phone behind. As for me, I headed upstairs to meet with Haas. Interesting. I lock eyes with Orlando, and the two of us, knowing where he'd been, and seemingly on the same wavelength about sharing that with Haas. I looked from Haas to Orlando, him trying to stare the lion down to get him to stop prying. I mean, interesting. I gave Orlando a stare before nodding gently. I had talked to him already about being careful, and he'd promised. Okay, sleep well, Orlando.
You too, Dave.
I turned to go again, hesitating again, and causing Orlando to place a hand on my shoulder.
You alright? You're acting kind of funny. Just tired?
I think so, but you will be careful, right?
Careful. Yeah. I don't plan on, taking any unnecessary risks.
Alright, alright.
Go to bed before you pass out. I'll see you in the morning.
Am I... Did I not get there? Damn it. He said he'd be careful. I was in a daze. Yesterday, playing over in my head as to what we talked about. How we, didn't want anyone to die. He said he wasn't, taking any unnecessary risks, but was that what the, knife was for? Oh, what did he go and grab it? Leave it behind? I looked at Dean and shook my head. He's alright. If it's another death threat, I'd rather just leave it here.
Yeah, don't blame you for that one.
Dean tore the letter up, shoving the remnants into his pocket upon realizing there wasn't anywhere to dispose of it properly. You didn't need to tear it up. But I guess what's done is done. Shall we hit the road? I don't know. Did I miss something? No, okay, that... I guess I can do one more loop of sentence and see if, like... What would be different? I could go with Sal. What does that change? I wander over to where Sal was to see how he was doing. Sal, you find what you're looking for?
Not yet.
Sal was currently shifting through what appeared to be many small containers of spices, scouring each by checking the label before haphazardly reaching in to grab the next one. What are you looking for?
Flour.
I was handed a few containers, including one of paprika, one of nutmeg, and another of cinnamon. These are nothing like flour. Sal froze and withdrew his hands quietly.
Which one is flour? I was just looking at everything. That was powder.
I put everything that Sal had given me in the pantry and looked through the shelves. Let's see. Oh, this one, I think. I pulled out a large metal container with the letters SR on it. As if I remember correctly, this is the type of flour.
What does the letters mean? Super refined?
I think it's self-raising. I don't really know what the difference is, though, between this and normal flour.
Maybe this one is for bread. Bread sort of gets big when you make it, right?
I guess that makes sense. So, we just need the sugar, milk, and eggs.
I'll go check the fridge. I know what eggs look like, and milk is the white liquid. Hard to miss.
I don't mean anything by it, but probably better to get that I get the sugar. I don't want you to get salt instead. On his way past, Sal rolled his eyes and palmed my face, and God, I can't read right now. On his way past, Sal rolled his eyes and palmed my face in a half-hearted smile forming. I grabbed the sugar and the rest of the stuff and make my way over to the milk and eggs.
Okay, pancakes.
Pancakes.
Do I just...
Sal places the whole egg in the bowl and gestures at it. It was hard to tell if it was if he was being genuine. No, like this. I took the eggs out and cracked it on the rim of the bowl, cracking it cleanly in half, with the top half of the shell falling into the bowl, with most of the most was in the egg. Yeah. Oh, well, at least we can fish that out easily enough.
How much of the stuff do we need to add?
Orlando said a cup, I think. I taken out a cup measure before, and watched Sal scoop it in with flour, dumping whatever he grabbed into the bowl with an egg. He didn't get the. He did the same with the sugar than milk.
And then we mix it, right? What, is this supposed to look like?
Dad said to compare it to something like glue, so thick and sticky.
Like glue? It's the wrong color for a glue, though. Does that matter?
No, I think this is fine. Maybe it's just the eggs making it that color. Dad and I added chocolate to ours, so I don't really know. Sal began to mix until we had a thick batter. Granted, I needed to tell him when to stop, but it looked about the right consistency. So, you've never used a frying pan before, Sal?
I don't think so. Normally I use a big pot.
Oh, so you've cooked before?
Back home we used to make fried chicken. At least when I was a kid. I think we used a pot for that.
Okay, but what about recently?
I don't think I own one. I cook what meat I get in a pot, but it always burns.
Okay, well, how about I show you how my dad taught me, and then you can try.
All right.
Pan down on low heat. Just use a little bit of butter, which we didn't have, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to skip it. I wonder if this is how Dad felt making pancakes while I watched. Occasionally, I'd look over to Sal, and he just had eyes darting back and forth between me and what he was doing, what was going on in the pan. So if I remember right, when you start seeing the bubbles on top, you flip it. When they appear, I flip it over, brown enough. I waited another minute and flipped it back over to check before putting it on a plate nearby. See? Easy.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
I stepped back and watched as Sal repeated what I did, trying to delicately replicate what I had done. But as soon as the batter hit the pan enough, things started to go downhill quickly. Not that I needed it to be perfect circles, but the batter had gone sort of everywhere. Then the panic set in when some parts were bubbling and others weren't. Wait? The amount of resolve Sal seemed to transmit was too intimidatingly after I picked up the panic and his panic made me hold off taking over.
Okay, now I just flip?
He did manage to flip the pancake over, but it was molted with every color light brown to black.
Ugh, no good.
I think if you try just pouring it evenly, you have better luck.
Right, I think I can do this.
We went through the rest of the batter with various results, but we eventually had one, and only one, that at least wasn't burnt crispy or just half cooked. What does that change? How long have you liked him?
It's hard to say. Sometimes I feel this gut feeling, right? It's a happy, warm feeling. Different to when I'm sick or upset or angry, like a sort of heat, I guess.
Have you ever crushed on someone before?
Of course I have. Well, at least I think so. I haven't really had my affections returned before, so the feeling goes away pretty quick.
What was it like?
Oh, Well, to be honest, the first time wasn't all that good, because I didn't know what I should be doing. Plus, I think I gave him some minor burns.
Burns?
Well, yeah, I didn't really think it to keep it under control. Dangers of running hot, I guess. It wasn't that major, thankfully, but I felt awful after the adrenaline wore off. But overall, it was pretty good. I sort of got into that. We kind of tried a whole bunch of things. There's a downside, though.
Aside from burns?
Yes, aside from burns. When you get a taste of it, sex in general, I mean, you start to crave it, I guess. Or maybe you just chase that endorphin rush. They put it another way, once you've done it, you sort of don't get as much enjoyment out of tending to yourself, I guess.
I was hanging off every word he said, ears and cheeks flushing red, curious and slightly embarrassed. Oh, that sounds bad.
It's not that bad. Just have to remember to be safe about it. Get checked regularly for stuff as well. You know, better be safe than sorry.
Right. What am I missing? Okay, I'm fairly certain. Who's there? Dave. Hi. Almost got a heart attack. Did you follow me for some reason? Kind of disappointing if you did. I didn't believe. I thought you were in danger. In danger of what? Still, I suppose your heart was in the right place. What brought you down here anyway? Oh, well, like I said, upstairs. I just wanted to check something out. But here, of all places? Yeah, here. This place seems important. I guess. I don't know. This is... your house, the bankers and stuff. Right. So your family is. Well, Grandpa was pretty keen on taking me out of the family business. Still, the prospect of death is just so... Orlando shuddered, hugging himself. I do not want to see people die, at least for people I know. Hey, Orlando, is it promise? Hey, I promise to be careful if you do. Interesting. Hmm. I mean, I'm used to this just being the word that Oswin tells you, so... So much for that. Eh. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying the... Oh no, my... Oh, Hmm. Deluge. Lock 2 cards from the opponent's hand. Well, I think I'm going to end the part here and then, like, read back over the stuff and get back to this. So, yeah, I'll see you around, everyone.